Hello, my name is Elizabeth Ailey. I am a Feng Shui consultant. I'm really glad that you're here, and today we're going to talk about the new energy shift that we'll be experiencing, and this is massive. There's a lot of really interesting correlations between the Eastern Feng Shui system, period 9 that we are entering on the Feng Shui New Year, which is February 4th, 2024. I'm also going to talk about the Chinese Lunar New Year, which is happening just right after, which happens on February 9th or 10th, depending on where you are in the world, because this is celebrating the new moon in Aquarius that happens at that time. Definitely need to talk about that. That's really interesting for this kickoff. And then the 20-year shift that we are going into with a period 9. So we haven't experienced this for quite a while. These are massive changes that are going to be happening with the energy. Different things that were auspicious in the past have changed. And so I want to make sure to go over that information with you guys as well. And then there was something that came into my attention from a Sean Chan. I believe his website is Master Sean Chan. And I thought this was really interesting because he did a blog post, and I want to give him credit for this, where he talked about he believes that period 9 actually began with the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction that happened December 21st, 2020. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember any wild or crazy things, changes happening around that time. That's really interesting, right? And then something that I want to talk about is that, period 9, if we use the Feng Shui system of using this Feng Shui New Year, February 4th, 2024, and we align those two things, well, Pluto is going to be in Aquarius for 20 years in this same, time period. And that is massively transformational too. And if you know anything about numerology, Feng Shui, period 9, as well as, the Western tropical astrology side of it, Pluto is very much about death and rebirth, changing, burning down. Yeah, I don't want to say burning down, dramatic language, but large changes, right, that happen. And 9 is very much about completion. It is about endings. It's the ending before the rebirth. So I'm going to be going into all of this, the different, most important guas that I feel comfortable giving, generally speaking, to a general public. Feng Shui is very much a personalized science. So it's really important to, I think, look at your personalized energy, your actual space. That's the best way to get advice from someone like me. But we're going to go ahead and jump in. And I'm really excited. Okay, here we are. Okay, period 9, period of Li. It's a Li trigram. So we're going to talk about all of this in the system. And this beautiful image here is known as the Lo Shu, the magic square. And you'll notice that there's all these different dot points, and those correspond to the actual numbers. So like in the center, that cross is a 5. At the very bottom is a 1, at the very top is the 9, etc., etc. Okay, so we're entering period 9, which this is a 20-year shift. This is a big deal. This is going to be the energy of the phoenix for the next 20 years. And so what does the mythical bird of the phoenix mean? Most people know, it's, you can't burn a phoenix, it just regenerates itself like from the ashes. And so that's a really beautiful sign for period 9. It is very much about endings of things and the beginning of something new. And that is very much, from the ashes of your old life, something new is created, which is very beautiful. It's a nice metaphor. In Feng Shui, we have 4 animal archetypes for each of the cardinal directions. So cardinal direction being north, south, east, and west. And the phoenix is one of the mythical animals. The other one is the dragon. And the other two are animals that we've actually seen in the world, which is a tiger and a tortoise. All very important, but we're going to be focusing on the phoenix because that's the energy that we're going into for this year. And excuse me, for the next 20 years. So, what does this mean? Again, completions, new beginnings. Period 9, interestingly enough, is connected to technology because remember, fire is really the first technology. It can be, and I think this is an important allegory, technology can be beautiful, just like fire can be beautiful. And when we're able to know how to use it correctly, right? When we have temperance and control, having a candle, for example, keeps the dark away at night. Being able to harness it for our hearth and our home keeps us warm, and we're able to, use it to cook food. It's really important, helpful things. And yet, of course, if fire is not checked, it can burn down, an entire forest. And through, of course, those ashes, there is that is regenerative energy, right? It does feed the soil, but at the same time, if we could avoid burning down, that energy, metaphorically speaking, that would be ideal. And I think that's really something interesting to think about when we talk about technology, because it's such a beautiful thing. Like, I'm able to talk to you, to reach you today because of technology. We're able to connect this way, and of course, I think there's a lot of downside too. So in this period, that is going to amp up even more. And the other things that are going to be really important are, as far as like industry, are really media and art and these type of creative fields, which is beautiful. We're told that women are going to be in more leadership roles, and particularly older women. So actually, I qualify. When you're a middle-aged woman, this is supposed to be a really good time. So I guess I timed it well. So I've got that benefit. An interesting thing also is that this is said to be connected to, and this is two sides of a coin, right? But health areas in a period 9 to be aware of are things concerning the heart, eyes, blood, and mental health. So, those are things to be really aware of in this period of time. And I am very hopeful that I'm just the forever optimist, and I'm just hopeful that we're able to um, have great, scientific breakthroughs in this area to help people be healthy in these areas. And these are important things to be aware of in this period. Okay. So period 9, I talked about this. It coincides with, Pluto and the Pluto transit in Aquarius in Western tropical astrology, which, Aquarius, if you know anything about that energy, is very much about the technology. It's very much about how, like, the internet is the perfect example of Aquarius energy because it connects people, right? And yet it's also kind of distant. We're kind of far away from each other. That's very much an Aquarius energy. So I think that's going to be very interesting as well. So, what is a period 9? I did want to touch on this because I think this is important to understand. So again, it begins, according to some people, it begins on the new year, February 4th, 2024. I think it's really interesting how Pluto does align up with the Aquarius. I know I mentioned in the intro, Master Sean Chan's thoughts on that, having to do with the conjunction with Saturn and Jupiter, which did happen in 2020. And then it won't happen again until 2040. So that's very interesting. And just for some reference there, Jupiter is very important in the Eastern system as well. I know in the Western tropical system, it's just as important. It's like Zeus, basically. Jupiter is seen as, the great benefic. And but it's even more emphasized and tracked in the Eastern system, arguably. So it's very interesting, his observations about that, and I think it's interesting to look at both. I really do, and I do blend a little bit of this information because I get just a richer understanding of, I think, we're looking at actual planetary movements here. So that's important. Okay. So, anyhow, got off on a tangent there. Sorry. So basically, each of these numbers, each segment represents 20 years, which we talked about, right? So we're in a period 9, we'll be in that for the next 20 years. Once we move over into period 1, it'll be a complete reset, right? The wheel starts again, so to speak. And these colored sections are, basically groups. These are part of the cycle. So, if, like, for example, right now we're in what's considered the lower cycle of 7, 9, 8, right? That's a part of a 60-year cycle. Of course, the period 9 is its individual 20-year cycle. And then the entire thing, 180-year great cycle that we have, is what is really one of the big wheels that we're looking at for massive energy shifts. So this really, period 9 is a really big deal. This is a big deal. And, and then when we transition to period 1, that's going to be really kind of upper the upper cycle beginning. So something hopefully carrying on the beneficial things from this last great cycle and transforming them for the benefit of everyone. Of course, that's the hope, right? Okay. Okay, 2024 is the Wood Dragon, and that begins on the Chinese Lunar New Year, which begins on February 10th. At 2024, again, it could be February 9th, depending on kind of where you are in the world. So we're looking at this new moon in Aquarius at 20 degrees, 41 minutes. This is a very auspicious start, I think, to a period 9. And I think we need some positive information. So let's talk about it. A dragon is considered the luckiest Chinese zodiac sign. Everyone wants to have a dragon baby. It's a thing. If you, especially during the Chinese Lunar New Year, like, that's very auspicious to have a baby born on a new year, and to have it be a dragon. Why is a dragon considered lucky? Well, they're born leaders. They have all of the skills. If you see a dragon, you're like, okay, yeah, you're probably going to do pretty good, right? They're usually very confident, and they take action. They're go-getters. I also think of dragon people as very compassionate. And one of the reasons I think that is that if you know the story about how the Chinese animal order, this zodiac order, came about. So it's, of course, a legend, right? But essentially, the great emperor got all the animals together and said, "Okay, we're doing this animal zodiac thing. Uh, it's going to be a race, and whoever finishes the race first, will be in position 1, and then we'll go all the way around to 12, right? So it's that perfect, again, as a zodiac." And everyone's looking around and they're like, "Well, dragon's clearly going to win. Like, this doesn't seem like a fair fight." But when the race happened, dragon wasn't in the first position. And actually, the reason why is because dragon's cruising along. He's clearly going to win, and he hears the cries of a local village that need assistance. They need rains. They need help. And the dragon goes, "I'm going to go help these people." Doesn't finish the race first to go help people, helps the local people, and they're so very thankful, saves the town, right? And then finishes the race. And so I think that's a really interesting thing. And I think that it denotes not just dragon people, but how this is an important year to really be of service. Like, how are we of service to our fellow human? And that's also very much an Aquarius energy. Let's be nice. Let's be kind. There's positive things that we can do here. And the beautiful side of being human, right? Let's not lose that. So I know we've been through a really hard couple last years, and I think it's just really important to keep that in mind. Okay. So, if you are a dragon person, if you're born in the year of the dragon, it is said to be a massive reset for you because this is resetting the wheel. And I have read very extensively on this. People have very different opinions about what it means. So, you may read that there could be some challenges that happened if you're a year of the dragon person. And the truth is, in my practice working with clients, I ask people about, when they've had their zodiac year and like, you know, tell me a little bit about like your experience. And generally speaking, people, yes, note that there were challenges, but the biggest thing is that they were able to meet them and it was like life changing for them. So, what I think is much more important is to look at, the last time we had a year of the dragon, like 2012. What happened? What happened in your life, and really take a look at that because I think that gives you some really rich information. And one of the reasons I say that too is that so the dragon is, you can see, in opposition or a clash with the year of the dog people. And I'm a year of the dog, where are my bitches? We're a very friendly sign. And when I look back at 2012, beautiful things happened in my life. Beautiful, life-changing things happened in my life in that year. So it wasn't a negative year for me. And yes, there were challenges, there were things I had to work through, but it was a very positive year. So I want to make sure to give you guys that kind of information because I think that's important. I'm not here to fear monger and say you must wear a bracelet or you know what I mean, like that type of thing. So the other people that should be aware are ox or goat people. Sheep and goat, there's like the same animal basically. And they are technically in a side clash. And so it's just kind of like a mixed energy. It doesn't necessarily, again, none of this has to be seen as negative. I don't want anyone to see that as negative. But these are just things to be aware of. There are, of course, things you can do in your house if you have these positions of a dragon, a dog, an ox, or a goat. And we can talk a little bit about that. I prefer to really look personally at your information in order to give a full analysis because, again, like me as a dog person, well, the year of the dragon for me, my Jupiter is in the ninth house, which is so again, I'm mixing a little bit here, right? And the ninth house in the Western tropical astrology is the luckiest house. I mean, I was extremely lucky in 2012, so I'm just hoping I'm hoping that it continues to be good energy. I'll report back next year. And please let me know if you have, in the comments, if you've experienced anything like that. Okay, so the 2024 flying star information. So this is really interesting. This is very important. These are the important favorable or timely numbers in period 9. It is 1, which is going to be in the east this year. It is 2, which is going to be in the southeast, which is wealth and prosperity. I didn't say, but as you can see on here, community and family is the east gua. And then relationships, love and relationship, marriage, 9, very positive. And these are the annual numbers, guys. So this is why I don't, in my videos, don't typically talk about like how to activate and work with them, because each home is unique. Each home has its own chart. Yes, all of these guas, everyone has a southwest corner of their room. Everybody has this energy space, but what we don't know are your permanent numbers. And so those numbers are really, you have to have someone do it for you and that understands what they're doing. Because essentially, each of these guas has multiple numbers. The 2 permanent ones combine with the annual information to really tell us what's going on there. So 9 is really positive. Again, it's the fire energy, and it's a booster. So let's hope, and if you don't know, you can get a consultation, but it's a booster energy of whatever you have going on here. And this helps you work with that energy. And if you're familiar from years past, watching these videos or with Feng Shui. 2 is generally is known as the quote unquote sickness star. It's usually something we correct for in most periods. Well, it's now a rising prince in the period 9. So it's actually a positive thing. And this is huge. This is really, really important for the shift of energy in your space. So having a personalized reading really kind of tells you more about that. But this is, generally for the collective, I think this looks really good. Um, and community and family, having a 1 there, having the east quad, that's really important. And I think that's a really, east is also elders. And when you look at the connection between southwest, which is love and relationship, and family and community, like these are important things that I think are really important to, again, focus on. What do we have next? We have the unfavorables. So I will talk about these because this is something everyone can correct for. 5 is always considered unfavorable, and it's going to be in West. It's going to be in this is the area of children, of creativity, which can be projects of any kind. And so in order to remedy for this, again, it's semi-personalized, but I always advocate for heavy metal in this zone, and that essentially is home acupuncture. Traditional Chinese medicine and Feng Shui have the exact same root. We're working with the 5 Chinese elements. We're working with the different meridians or guas of the house, or meridians of the body. And if you go to a Chinese doctor or an acupuncturist, that is one of the tools they're going to do. They're going to perhaps give you some herbs to work with, maybe some wood energy in your body or fire energy or things like that, moxa, things like that. Or they're going to do acupuncture to certain channels, to certain areas. And just like Feng Shui, and Chinese medicine, there are different schools of thought and different ways, like different types of acupuncturists, etc. But the point being, putting heavy metal in the Western Gua is going to be very important for this year, 2024. And that is, if you have a space that's 1,000 square feet or less, that would be a minimum of 45 pounds. And then each additional 1,000 square feet, you add 15 per area. So again, this is one of the reasons why it's important to have a personalized reading. But generally speaking, put some heavy metal in the West. And then 4 becomes a untimely or unfavorable number as well. And this doesn't mean, travel, helpful people, Northwest is Heaven's Gate. That doesn't mean you won't travel or can't travel or people won't be helpful. But I do want you to be aware that that has now become a unfavorable number in the 2024 and how to work with it. Again, most important to know what the other numbers are, where this is in your home, what's happening in your space. Okay, Grand Duke Jupiter is going to be, the Emperor is going into Southeast. He's going to be with the 2, and but 2 is a rising prince, so that's actually quite nice. This is again wealth and prosperity. And your Southeast area of your home, for the Grand Duke Jupiter, here are the main important things to know. Generally speaking, we say don't face that direction for more than 2 hours. You're not always able to get out your compass and be like, oh, make sure I'm not facing, southeast. Maybe you are. There is an app on your phone. You could try that. But it's just saying for a very long period of time, it's not ideal to face that direction, even if that's one of your best directions. And the reason is this is like when the Emperor comes to visit, basically. So you just want to keep that space clean and clear. And if you had the queen or king coming to your house, you wouldn't, take them to a dirty room with trash, right? So that's essentially the way to work with that, generally speaking. And I am going to mention the 3 Shahs, just so you know where they are. No, I'm not going to talk about them here too in depth, because just kind of like the 3 and 7, these are minor energies that may or may not activate unless there's something going on outside of the house, like a poison arrow, renovations in this area, just to have a little bit of caution. Like, nothing, if you have to do something, you have to do something. But just letting you know that these three Shahs are going to be in the Southwest area. And yeah, just kind of the same principles that we talked about with Grand Duke Jupiter. Just keep these areas clean. This is, I'm a Feng Shui consultant. You're supposed to sweep your floors and make your bed. And, if you continue to do those very basic things in your space, and watch out for any poison arrows or things like that, I think generally speaking, you should be fine. Okay, well, that has been the reading. And so thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in a personal reading, of course, there's a link below in order to, do that with me. I really enjoy working with people. So thank you so much for your time. And if you're not able to, that's fine. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Of course, that helps the algorithm, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. So thank you so much. I hope you have a very blessed 2024. I hope you have a blessed period 9. And yeah, I'll see you next year, guys, or maybe in person. Bye.